Before we get into this, I just want to say I do not hate Fortnite, and I don't think anybody that says they do actually hates it. I just think they hate the game because of how repetitive and how annoying the community is. Game itself, if it's done right, it's good. If the game goes well, it's good. If the game doesn't go well, it's bad. That is something that is pretty, similar to other games. But I think this game is different, and I'm going to start talking about it. So let's get to the game. How's it going, guys? It's your boy Legend here, back at it again with another video. Yes, I am making another video. Thank you for the support recently. I'm Brandon responding to my video. That video did pretty well in the first 2 hours. The video got removed and then it got reinstated by YouTube. So thank you for that. That really helped with my enthusiasm. So today I want to talk about the rise and fall of Fortnite and the reasons why it fell. I think the game fell for two individual reasons: the gameplay and how repetitive it was, and also the community. Community is definitely the defining factor of how this game died. The community is probably one of the most toxic communities in gaming history, right next to Counter-Strike Global Offensive and PUBG. It was never always like that. Its community, when it first started off, it was not all 7-year-olds screaming into the microphone. They were quite old people playing it and having fun. And then the swarm of YouTubers made videos on it that brought just a wave of people into it. Mostly young people that just liked screaming into the microphone, just annoying everybody. So actually, before I talk about that, let's get into the community and how it's so toxic, and then right after that I'll get to the gameplay. So let's get into it. So since we're talking about the community, I just want to say that it is definitely the reason why Fortnite fell, and the reason why people don't look at it the way it was a year ago, because the game now is looked at as cringe, and if you play it, it's just cringe. It wasn't always like that. It was people just enjoying the game, people having fun, people making videos on it, and then kids had to ruin it for everybody. Or not all kids. Kids aren't bad, but just the swarm of 7-year-olds that join every single creative lobby on public mode and then just scream at each other. And I get that's gaming, and it's funny sometimes, but it's quite annoying sometimes when you can't even turn off voice chat, and when you hear someone just having an aneurysm in their mic. At least in COD Modern Warfare 2, they were older. People, even though they did say worse stuff, they were older people. But at least in Fortnite, it's just little kids screaming about how they could do 90s better than someone else. That's not very impressive anymore. And it's stupid because I know this from a perspective because my brother plays Fortnite and he's probably the most annoying person in my life. No offense, Mason. And, I have to deal with him. He screams at his friends with quotation marks, just he never lets anyone else have fun. And I hear it from them too, his friends. They're just annoying. All of them, they're annoying. I don't want to be in a community where the only thing I'm known for or the only thing that our community is known for is screaming into the microphone. It's quite contradictory to the whole point of the game. Just be a laid-back battle royale, but that just can't happen. Because all these little kids grinding for their competitive, gaming that are 11 years old, 7 years old, they are not legally allowed to make money, trying to get money. And when they realize that they can't get money, they still do it anyway. And when they get rejected for the tournaments because they're kids, they whine. Obviously, that's what's gonna happen. You can't legally be paid when you're 11 years old for something that you do. You could be given something maybe a freaking mouse or something, but you can't legally get money from that. So that just defeats the whole point of competitive. If Fortnite didn't have competitive, it would be probably the same game, except not just filled with little kids, because these kids don't know. And I think Fortnite should make it more like recognizable to these kids that they can't make money off the game unless they're 13 years or older. There's no way they can. It's not legal. So that is something that is been on my mind recently, and it's like I feel bad for the kids because they're practically getting lied to by the Fortnite devs. Fortnite devs aren't making it obvious. They're just like, oh, playing these arena games that have no value whatsoever to anybody that's below the age of 13. Even though the entire community is literally just very, very little kids below 13 years old. That they don't know that they can't make money off the game, so they see a future in it. Which you could see a future in it, but you can't see a future that's as distant as like a month. It has to be like at least 4 years. Or maybe like 2 if you're 11. Just it's sad to see how YouTube's or Fortnite is just using these kids for profit and not telling them that, hey, you can't make money off this game. It's really sad. It's really sad. And I think Fortnite is just lying to everybody. I don't think they could be transparent with anything. They don't listen to the community. The game sucks now. And that's just a fact. Nobody talks about it anymore. Minecraft is beating it now. Because Minecraft's actually a good and sustainable game. Well, we have freaking Fortnite over here. That's just the same game every single time. Unless you're doing like a challenge or something, which if you're doing that, props to you. It's something different. It's something that could really take away. But at the same time, I think people should see what they're doing instead of just believing that, hey, I can make money off of this when they really can't legally. So that's my little thing on the community. Let's get into the gameplay and how repetitive it truly is. So the gameplay was pretty revolutionary at the time. Nobody has seen a very successful third-person game since PUBG and Gears of War. It was pretty cool, and the gameplay was so polished. And the one key factor of the gameplay was the building. The building was so revolutionary for any game. Like Minecraft building, it was a block at a time. But in Fortnite, you could build a huge wall. You could build a skyscraper in seconds. It was really cool, and that's what the real big factor of people that came into the game thinking they really liked how cool and revolutionary it was. The building was, and still is, a cool mechanic that no other game has ever seen before. Like, other games have seen building, but not to the extent that Fortnite does. And that's the big factor of how Fortnite got so popular. How different and how amazingly fun it was. The gameplay in the first year was so fun. The game was just fun. The game was so, you could turn into competitive, or if you want to play casual. Just, the killing was so satisfying. Everything was just working out well. But sadly, that did have to come to an end. People started realizing, hey, this is normal now. It's not as revolutionary as it was. This is a normal thing now that we just are used to and we take for granted. So the game started taking a nosedive from there because people were like, hey, this is pretty much Fortnite does not like giving us updates anymore. Fortnite doesn't update their game anymore. Fortnite just, it seems like they realize that their game makes money so they don't have to change it. Every single season, it's just the battle pass and a little thing about the map that changes, except for season 1, chapter 2. But all that stuff is hey, I think the new map's cool, but after maybe 3 days, it's just normal again. Our brain is so different to the point where we just turn it normal, and it's not different anymore, and it's not it's not like revolutionary anymore because it's normal. And that's what Fortnite really struck. Because instead of having a new game every year or a new game every 2 years, it's the same game that's been out for maybe 2 years now. And people realize, hey, the game's not going to change. There's not going to be any difference to it. At least with Fortnite, with Call of Duty, every year there's a new game and new gameplay mechanics, new maps, new just everything, new game modes, all of that. With Fortnite, it's really hasn't changed. It's the same games, same core principle, except maybe they slap on a new map or something. That's the one thing that people have been complaining about, how we aren't getting enough updates for this game to be lively anymore. Like the updates that do come out, they're pretty small. Like the helicopter update, like it's cool, but you know, Call of Duty Warzone did that. All of that, like there's so much more better battle royales to play that are just fun, fast-paced, and you get more content out of it. Like Call of Duty Warzone, that you get so much content from it because they change it so much. The game, they add new guns to it. They add new seasons to it. That instead of just changing the map, the seasons add weapons. The seasons add whole new like PUIs. And I know Fortnite does that, but with Call of Duty Warzone, it's a first-person, faster-paced game that you have to have the aim and the skill to win in. But in Fortnite, you just build a wall, and that practically just stops people shooting at you. So, of course, these new Battle Royale games are going to get big because they're rivals to Fortnite, and something that they need to grow is to be a rival to Fortnite, and probably better. I would say Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, PUBG, I think they're all better than games than Fortnite. I think Fortnite just appeals to a large kid audience. But the other games I just mentioned, they appeal to more older teenagers, older people. It's different to other games. And there's no way they could ever redeem themselves from this gameplay mechanics unless they really change the game or they make a second one, which I don't want to happen. I myself, I want Fortnite to die so that more games could get the chance to live, like better games, like let's say Crucible, maybe games like The Cycle, GTA 5 again, maybe games like that. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, I want that to come back. But it won't because Fortnite's still a thing. Fortnite's still a thing that's thriving. And it's taking away a lot of just player bases from games that are just like 10 times better. At least in my opinion. You can have your own opinion about the game. My opinion is I hate it, but that's all different for you guys. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. This video did not take very much time to make, but I enjoyed making it because it's something that I really want to put out there. Please make sure to look out for my Doom Eternal review and also my Banjo-Kazooie review. I will be making those in the next month maybe, so look out for those, and I will see you later. Goodbye. Make sure to subscribe or I will kneecap your grandma 400 times repeatedly with a metal pole. Goodbye.